his son had an FBI informant card when he was arrested in
Okay.
Georgia.
But
So
we're state court.
that's correct. But I still submit he would be considered an informant type witness. I mean, I can.
Okay, why don't you just define what you
Sure,
mean by that?
Sure. So, Mr. Giacomo, I'll use the term cooperating witness or something to that effect. You would agree that.
Okay, what do you mean by that? Because
Okay.
sometimes a cooperating witness may be a co-defendant.
Okay. You have used witnesses that testify in exchange for potential beneficial treatment. Is that correct?
Sure.
Okay. And you would agree that Mr. Mouton was that type of witness in the case against Mr. Dow, correct?
Not the typical type that I deal with, but he did want a different prosecutor to provide him some leniency, or a federal court to provide him some leniency for his conduct in my case, if that's what you're asking.
Okay. And Mr. Mouton received probation in a federal case as a result of his testimony, at least in part from this case, correct? Is that your understanding?
I have no idea what his sentence was, or what the basis for the judge's determination was.
Okay. When do you recall that you first met Mr. Mouton?
The day before his deposition.
Okay. And would it refresh your memory that his deposition was on August 28th, 2007?
I knew that.
You would agree that's, so you think you met him when in relation to that date?
The 27th, I believe.
Okay. And had he been transported to Nevada at that time?
Well, I met him in Nevada.
Okay.
Not sure how he got here.
But you were the lead prosecutor on the case against Mr. Dow, correct?
We don't use terms lead. We were co-counsel, me and Josh Tomczyk.
Okay. But you were the senior prosecutor over Mr. Tomczyk, correct?
Well, I was more senior than Mr. Tomczyk. I'd agree to that.
Prior to Mr. Mouton being transported to Nevada, you arranged for him to come to Nevada to testify in this case, correct?
As I said before, I don't recall as I sit here today how he got here, whether his federal public defender had him transported, or if the U.S. attorneys did, the U.S. marshals did, or if we had to do a writ ad testificandum. I just don't know.
Okay, but Mr. Giacomo, before you met Mr. Mouton, you were aware that you wanted to use him as a witness in this case, correct?
I was aware that he was a witness in this
Okay.
case.
How did you become aware that he was allegedly a witness in this case?
At the time I took the case over, which was shortly before the deposition, there was, I don't remember if I got the conversation directly or if it was from Dave Schwartz, the prior prosecutor, but that the federal public defender was requesting that Mr. Mouton testify so that he could go forward with his sentencing because our trial was not going to go forward.
Okay.
Now, do y'all hear this, bitch? Now, let me tell you what the significance is of that questioning. They was in a joint investigation. California, Nevada, fucking Atlanta, Georgia, and everywhere else this nigga went. The feds is involved. He's gonna sit, do you hear this, bitch? Do you hear this diabolical motherfucker sit here and say he don't know how Mouton came about, how he was transported? He's trying his fucking best to not be affiliated with the joint investigation. Because what does a joint investigation show? It shows corruption from every aspect of the fucking law, from the top to the bottom. Across state and county lines, they all conspired in a conspiracy to have the motherfucking Mac ministry stagnated and stuck. You dirty motherfuckers. But I can assure you, do you hear that motherfucker trying to lie his way out of that? Who the fuck you think you talking to? Your 6-year-old son that you telling Santa Claus is coming to town? Huh, bitch? Who you think you talking to? But this is what he's saying. And the judge, she's sitting there, she playing along with it.
Now, prior to bringing Mr. Mouton to Nevada to testify in this case, how did you become aware that he was allegedly involved in the alleged charges against Mr. Dow in this case? How did you learn that, is what I'm getting at.
Oh, there was a police report from the Fairfield Police Department that the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department had in their homicide book.
Okay. So you would agree that there was communication between Fairfield Police and authorities in California and the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police related to Mr. Mouton, correct?
Well, they got the record somehow.
Okay. They were cooperating and acting in a joint investigation in this case, correct?
I would not say that.
Well, if they were sharing materials to allegedly prosecute Mr. Dow in Nevada, you would agree that would be considered a joint investigation.
I don't know how, I mean, I know you've never done it from our side. I know that I can ask law enforcement to reach out to other agencies and get records. I don't know how that police report from Fairfield wound up in the homicide book. I have no idea.
But before the deposition of Mr. Mouton, you were aware, sir, that there was a connection between, and that Metro from Vegas was working with California authorities in relation to alleged allegations against Mr. Dow, correct?
I wouldn't say I was aware of that.
Okay. You became aware of that at least, I mean, you were aware of that prior to the trial in this case, correct?
You keep using Metro as the, I recall that when I found out about him killing Lee Dene Larson, that I reached out to Fairfield to find out what records I could get to do a bad acts motion against Mr. Dow. I have no idea what Metro knew, didn't know. There was just this police report in the homicide book.
Now, do you hear this, bitch? We're in the fuck, and this is some of the shit that I'm talking about that they let him get away with. First of all, he's really concerned that a white prostitute got killed, a white woman got killed. He don't give a fuck about nothing else. He's sitting here talking about a motherfucker kills. Bitch, ain't nobody testified that I done anything. There is no gun, no DNA, no witnesses to say I done a motherfucking thing. But he can sit here and make a bold statement like that. When he found out that bitch, if you don't cut that out, but this is the same diabolical cracker that got Mouton to say what he said. He saw me at the Boulevard Mall, and that he saw me with her. Bitch, you saying all that, you also knew that Mouton, that was his hoe. The bitch ain't gave me a nickel in Mexican money. I don't give a fuck about what y'all talking about. I ain't had no relationship and no pimping and pandering with the man. If you don't cut this shit out, bitch, it ain't one motherfucker that ever said they saw Andre Dow do anything except what he had Mouton say. But I'm sitting in the penitentiary. I've been here for 17 years, and this is why I'm really, really, really highly upset, because this is the shit that he say, and then he say that he look at the camera. He looking at the bitch from CBS. He can't testify to something that he don't know. He's a prosecutor. So why are you testifying to this in trial? He did the same thing in trial. All right, y'all go ahead and listen to this stupid ass man. I'm not going to call that man stupid because he's far from stupid. That bitch is he's a wicked genius. He's a wicked genius. You can't call him stupid. Because if you label him stupid, then you got to be like, okay, he can't really be held responsible from some of his stupidity. It's just, something that, it's indicative of this bitch to sit here and make all of these false claims and put all of this fake shit on the record. Like I'm telling you, when I was in trial doing the closing arguments, what do he say? He says to the juror, but he not talking to the juror. He talking to the transcripts because he know those judges and those other people other white folk gonna read it. So he say he killed a white woman. See the race game that he played?